I don't care how many people you advertise to buy this poop. You can make it look good with my wife's makeup brush. You can spray perfume on it. You can take beautiful pictures of it with brilliant lighting. It's still a poop. No matter what kind of advertising marketing you do, nobody's going to want to buy a poop. Okay, we're going to start this video off with a brief history lesson, so bear with me. I promise you this will be worth your time. There are 3 dates that revolutionized real estate. The first date that I want you to remember was the year 1995. What happened in 1995? The website Realtor.com came on scene. At that time, there was only personal computers, but that website allowed people to search for homes without actually having to go find a real estate agent in a brokerage office and sit down and look through those big, thick books. Second date I want you to remember, 2006. That was the year the website Zillow came online. Still, looking on your personal computer, you now had 2 ways, if you're looking for homes, to search for them without having to go into a brokerage. And the third date I want you to remember, and perhaps the most significant as it pertains to real estate, was 2007. What happened that year? iPhone. And it wasn't just that it was a phone, it was a computer in your hand that had something called apps. And with apps, it now allowed platforms like Realtor.com and Zillow to be in the person's hand all the time who was looking for property. So when we talk about exposure, when we talk about how to get your house sold, we have to recognize that the number one way to get people to see your house is to put it in their hands. Okay, so you now have, because of that brief history lesson, the backdrop for where we're about to go. And the backdrop is exposure comes when people see your house in the palm of their hand. Okay, that's the backdrop. Now, when you sit down with real estate agents to sell your home, and we recommend that you interview at least 3 of them, the most important question you're going to ask them is, what can you do to sell and market my home that other agents can't? And when you ask that question, you're going to hear a lot of different answers. But I'm going to share with you the 4 most popular answers that you're going to hear in today's real estate industry. And the first answer you're going to hear is agents are going to promise to put you right here. Real estate magazines. How are people going to find a home? They don't go, okay, I'm ready to buy a house now. What's the best way? The best way for me to find a home? I know, I'm going to go to the Olive Garden and pull out one of those magazines that I saw when I was waiting for a table last week. That's not how they're going to find your home. Magazines are a very ineffective way to sell your home if you're trying to sell a house. I get these advertisements on my email every month from these publishers, and they're saying, hey, if you at the Martinelli Realty team would like to post your pictures in our magazine, get it to us now by this date because it'll be in next month's publication. And by the time a photo of your house would go into that magazine, be distributed, put in the magazine rack there at Olive Garden, you're lucky if they see your house a month after we've already listed it. And if you do what you're supposed to do, your house should have sold before that magazine ever got published. Okay, the second way real estate agents will try to set themselves apart from others is by using social media. They'll promise things like podcasts, YouTube videos, Facebook Reels, Instagram posts. But let me just pump the brakes here for a second. The face you're watching right now, on the channel you're watching, Live Better in North Idaho, I have been doing social media and YouTube videos since 2014. So I have some experience when it comes to social media. And you can all attest, if you've been watching this channel for any time, of the creative ways I try to market our clients' homes using video. And guess how many homes we have actually sold using social media? 0. Now, social media has given us lots of business, advertisement. A lot of clients come to us through social media. But somebody actually calling or contacting us to say, hey, I saw your video on 1234 Street. I'd like to buy it. It's never happened. So keep things into context when real estate agents tell you that they're going to get your house sold using social media. In fact, I would offer this. There's only one thing more annoying than your friends posting pictures of their dinner and pictures of their vacation on your social media feed. The only thing more annoying than that is real estate agents trying to sell specific homes on your social media feed. That's not how people like to find homes. And remember our backdrop. How do people find homes? They find them on this using apps. If they see your home on a social media feed, it's probably way after they looked at it on an app. All right, let's talk about the third way you may hear real estate agents tell you they can get your house sold, and that's through what we call brokers' open houses or broker caravans. What is that? Well, I'm going to demonstrate that by role-playing here.
Hi, I'm Kory Martinelli. I'm with ABC Brokerage. We have over 300 agents in our office. We're the largest brokerage in all of North Idaho. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up an exclusive open house and invite all 300 of our agents. And the hope is that if any of these agents have buyers for you, and a lot of our agents do have buyers, and we can get it sold before it ever goes to market. Now, let's just say, for example, we aren't able to sell the house through that broker's open. We'll at least have the input of all the agents that come, because I'm going to ask them for their input on how we can best present this house so then when it goes to the market, we're in tip-top shape.
All right, so let me share with you the rest of the story. Not all 300 of those agents that work in that office are going to come to your open house. You'll be lucky if you get a dozen. And the ones that do show up will come because they were either told to go by their broker, or they're there to support their fellow agent in that open house. Or maybe they like coffee and donuts because they're going to serve hors d'oeuvres, and sometimes they serve cocktails and whatever. And you just need to keep in mind that when they have this open house, it's not necessarily engineered to sell your house. It's more engineered to keep the sale of your house within the brokerage. The agent and the brokerage want to double end it. They want to keep that sale in-house. And that doesn't necessarily work to your advantage. You as a seller want your house going to the most eyeballs possible. And if you sell the house to one of those 12 agents that showed up during the broker's open house, how do you know you wouldn't have got a better offer or even multiple offers by going to the MLS? So just keep in mind that when someone tells you that they're going to sell your house through a broker's open, that it doesn't necessarily mean it's for your advantage. The other type of broker's open that the agent might be trying to tell you about is where they open your home in an open house to all the other brokerages throughout the area. Well, that's what the MLS does. It opens it up to everybody. Okay, the last way that you'll hear most real estate agents say that they can sell your house is using an open house that's open to the public. Now, these are typically, 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday, and they put the signs out on the street corner, and sometimes they'll put camels and clowns in your front yard to draw attention. There's a couple things I want you to understand about open houses. One, they are not engineered to sell your house. They are engineered to bring clients to the real estate agent. The hope is that that real estate agent, by having somebody walk in the door, that they can represent both the new buyer and you, and they call that double ending. That's the hope of an open house. The agents want to hopefully double end that deal. Secondarily, how it benefits the agent is anybody walking in that door to see the house, what do they have to do? They have to either sign in, or what they're doing now is they're scanning a code that gives that person in the house information about price and square footage and stuff like that. But the purpose of signing in or scanning in is it gives that real estate agent the information, and they tag that buyer and then they mark it to them. So again, open houses are engineered for the agent to either double end it or gain more clients. Now, as far as being effective in selling your house, here's what you need to understand. How many people are actually going to show up on a 4-hour window on a Saturday or Sunday to your house? It's not dozens and dozens. Be lucky if you get a dozen. And who are those buyers? Well, are they all pre-approved buyers specifically looking for your house? I will offer this. If one of those buyers is pre-approved and they are ready to buy, The reason they're at your house is because they saw it on this. Remember our backdrop. And if they do, they're showing up because of that, not because of the open house. But let's just say that you have somebody enter the door, they don't have a real estate agent, and they do want to buy your house. Who's going to represent them? It's going to be your agent, and that presents you a problem. If your agent is now going to represent the buyer that just came into that open house and you, that's called dual agency, and that puts you at a disadvantage now. You have just lost your full representation from your agent. What dual agency says is that the agent who represents both the buyer and the seller has to remain neutral. They cannot take sides. And by default, that means you have just lost the absolute VIP treatment of your agent. So they'll have you sign a disclosure advising you of that, but you need to understand it doesn't work to your advantage when your agent is double-ending the deal, because they cannot advise you in the same technical way that they would advise you if they were representing you exclusively. So what you've gone from is having a coach that is in your corner giving you techniques and fighting for you on your side. You've gone from a coach to a referee who can only facilitate that transaction. So recognize that dual agency does not work to your advantage as a seller. And the last thing you need to be concerned about with open houses is security. And this comes from my 30 years of being a cop. I'm going to share with you a couple things. So the first thing is you need to be aware of people that come to the open house with the intent to steal while they're there. And usually what you'll see is maybe it's a husband and a wife. They come into the open house and the wife engages the real estate agent with intense questions about the property to divert the agent's attention. And then the husband's going through the house quick looking for things to steal like prescription drugs, jewelry, or small electronic items that they can pocket. And then they're out. The last thing regarding security, this was when I was a cop in California. We actually had a sophisticated husband and wife team that would go to open houses. They would literally look for all the open houses on that given Saturday in the newspaper, and they would systematically go to all the open houses and case the houses while they were in them. If they found a window that they could unlock on a safe side of a house, in other words, it was behind a bush or was on a side of the house where people couldn't see them breaking in, they would unlock that window, and you as a homeowner would never know that window was unlocked. And that would be their easy access into the house when they came back on another day. And what they would do is they'd come back during business hours, and most people are at work, the following day or a couple days later, dressed as real estate agents. They had clipboards, and they would literally go up and knock on the door. And if the homeowner answered, they would say, "Hi, we're real estate agents. Can we look at the house?" But if the homeowner did not answer the door, they assumed there was nobody home, so they would then go into the window that they had unlocked and they would commit the burglary. It was a fascinating way to commit burglary, but the way we caught them is they were doing their thing and they went up and knocked on a door one day, and the person inside, the homeowner, just didn't want to answer the door. So she was just hoping that they'd go away. Well, what they did is they came around to the side that they had released the lock on the window, and they'd actually started to come into the house. She, being in the back bedroom, went into a closet, called 911, told dispatch that there was people breaking into her house and that there was actually people in her house. So we were able to respond, actually caught the crooks coming out of the house with stuff in their pockets. So again, when it comes to open houses, you just got to kind of weigh the positives and the negatives. The positive being, as the agent says, we're going to give you more exposure. But what is that exposure? What is it, a dozen people? And how many of those dozen people are going to actually offer on your house? It's none. And then as far as the liability you open yourself up to, the first thing is you may lose the representation of your agent exclusively because they're going to double end it, and then you're going to have that dual agency conflict, and then you open yourself up to crime and possibly burglary. So you got to kind of weigh, are open houses truly what they're advertised to be? And I would tell you that open houses are a thing of the past. If you go back to our history lesson, remember that before 1995, when Realtor.com hit the scene, how did most people have to go find a house? They had to go to a brokerage, find a real estate agent, go through the books, or they went to open houses. And that's how brokerages used to get buyers. If you remember, newspapers back in the day actually had a real estate section, and you had pictures of all the listings, and then you had all the open house advertisements saying on this day there's going to be an open house. And those of you that used to search for homes prior to 1995, that's how you got her done. You either went to a brokerage or you went to an open house. This is how people find homes now. All those things combined can't come close to you putting your house on the MLS. Why? Because it's on the MLS where Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com pull all of their information for their platforms. If you get it on the MLS, that is the most exposure that you can get. So that's part one in getting your house sold. Get it on the MLS so you got that exposure. But all that exposure means nothing if you're selling a P.O.O.P. I don't care how many people you advertise to buy this P.O.O.P. You can make it look good with my wife's makeup brush. You can spray perfume on it. You can take beautiful pictures of it with brilliant lighting. It's still a P.O.O.P. No matter what kind of advertising marketing you do, nobody's going to want to buy a P.O.P. So what's the moral of the story here? P.O.O.P. stands for property outrageously overpriced. And I can market your house. I can put it on every TV program, Super Bowl, Tucker Carlson podcast. I can put it out to 1 million eyeballs. And nobody's going to want to buy it if it's a property that's outrageously overpriced. So in order for you to sell your home, you need two things. You need to get it out so it gets exposure, but it's got to be priced right. How do you price a house right? And that's where your real estate agent is critical. Your real estate agent needs to know how to do comparative market analysis, or what we call comps. And the purpose of a comp is to identify the right price of the home that you're going to sell. So if you're selling a 2-car garage home and your real estate agent finds a home down the street to use as a comp that's a 3-car garage, your price is going to be overpriced because your real estate agent just pulled a comp on a 3-car garage versus a 2-car garage. Bonnie, for example, knows how to adjust different variables for houses to come out with the right price to give to our clients. So when she sits down with a client that is ready to sell a house, she brings them a low price and a high price for what we think they can get for their house. It's a range. And as long as you're inside this range, you should sell your house. Now, if your house is priced high towards this high price point, it's going to sit on the market longer than if it's priced at the lower price. That's called the law of demand. The law of demand says that most of the demand is going to go towards the price that's more favorable. Okay, so let me wrap this up with one more story. You guys, we just sold a house in Athol, right here in North Idaho, and it sold in 2 days. That house was not in a magazine. I did not do a video on that house. We did not do a broker's open, and we did not do an open house. In fact, this house did not even have a sign in front of the property, and it sold in 2 days. How did it sell in 2 days? Well, it did what I just told you. You need to get it on the MLS, and you need to price it effectively. You cannot put a P.O.O.P. price and get it sold. All right, you guys, I hope you learned something from this video. We appreciate you hanging in there. There's a link in the description below on how to contact us. I would love to answer your questions in person. You can email me, or we can set up a conference call, a Zoom call, or meet here in person if you're in town. Thanks for following. Bye now. Thanks for watching the video. If we haven't met yet, I'm Kory Martinelli. My wife Bonnie and I own a local real estate team based in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Our personal journey to live better began in 2009 when we relocated our young family to North Idaho from Ventura County, California. We wanted to raise our family in a place rich with outdoor recreation and in a culture that treasured our strong conservative values. Leaving family, friends, and church was not easy. Perhaps the scariest decision was to leave behind 21 years as a deputy sheriff with Ventura County and finish my career with a new agency. But I did it and finished serving out my 3 decades in law enforcement as a deputy with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Department right here in North Idaho. While I was doing the easy part, working in law enforcement, Bonnie diligently raised our 2 children, battled breast cancer into remission, and started her real estate career part-time. Talk about a winner. After retiring from law enforcement in 2016, I joined Bonnie in real estate, and we went full-time forming the Martinelli Realty team and this video channel. Since then, we have successfully navigated one of the most aggressive and competitive real estate markets in America to help over 300 families relocate to North Idaho. In that time, Bonnie has been recognized as one of the top 1% producing real estate professionals in the entire country. It is this experience that we have gained in the market that forms the foundation of our videos. If you are wondering if you can live better in North Idaho, we dedicate this channel to you.